Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today we're going to talk a little bit about VMware, specifically ESXI and VMware vSphere. As you know or may not know, last year I signed up for the VM Users Group, VMUG, and part of that is you pay them $200 a year and you get access to these licenses to allow you to run it in a non-production environment. And I paid the money last year, but I never really took advantage of the benefits of the VMUG other than putting VMware Workstation on my Windows 10 machine so that I could run virtual machines on there as well. And I'm glad I did. I prefer it over VirtualBox. It's just, it's just head and shoulders above VirtualBox. So I went ahead and upped my VM Users Group subscription for another year, because last year I don't feel I really got to put it through its paces. Now, in that time frame, I've been playing with ESXI and with VMware vSphere, and I ended up putting it on my entire stack, both my Dells and my IBM, and I've been playing with it, creating virtual machines, moving stuff around. So today, this video is about me moving all of the ESXI off of my Dells. I'm just going to put VMware on my IBM and leave it there for now. But I need to move all the virtual machines I've created off of the two Dells onto the IBM. But I do have all this reserve server capacity, so there's no reason I can't still run VMware and play around with it. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to show you what it took to get all of those virtual machines consolidated into one server and to release them back so I can put Windows back on them. So let's get to that video right now. Alright, so I've been playing around with VMware in the lab, and I've got ESXi installed on all three of my servers, my main servers in the rack, I should say. That is the two Dell R710s, and then the one you're seeing now is the IBM X3650 Model 3. So I've been playing around with VMware. I really like VMware. I've got a VM UG subscription, so there's nothing wrong with playing around with it. So I'm going to take you along tonight. I'm prepping my network stack to go back to Windows Server. Here's the IBM unit booted up and waiting for me. I'm going to move some stuff around in my VMware stack. So I thought I'd show you how easy that is to do with the way I have it configured. Now, as I've said before, one of the benefits of servers of this caliber is you have the iDRAC or the IMM for the IBM unit, and the beauty is I don't have to get up from my desk, and hopefully you can hear the server firing up. So I need both Dells and the IBM up and running for what I'm going to do in this video, which is move some VMs around while I'm getting prepped to reinstall Windows Server. So I'm going to take you through parts of this. So right now I'm booting up the second Dell in the rack. This is the more powerful one. So we'll get that booted up to VMware. So while we're waiting on this Dell to boot, I'll explain something to you. The VMware Users Group, if you pay them $200 a year, you basically get 6 processor licenses for ESXi 6.7. That means, for my case, each server has 2 CPUs. So I have 3 servers in total, so there's my 6 CPU license. And then the VMware vCenter has 2 licenses with it for the $200 a year. So it's a good deal no matter how you look at it. So I went ahead and renewed my... Oh, plus you get VMware Workstation as well for a year. So that's one of the reasons I went ahead and renewed my membership this year. And as you can see, this one has got the 2 6-core processors running at 2.93 gigahertz and 48 gig of RAM. So we'll let this boot into ESXi, and then we'll go move some stuff around. So pay particular notice to this model of CPU. This is the X5670 in this model. Both of my Dells and my IBM all have the X5600 series processors. I know a lot of you think that it won't run, that ESXi 6.7, and this is version U3, as you can see by the build number. You're under the impression it won't run on these Dells or even this 3650 Model 3 IBM I have, but in fact it will. Moving forward, these CPUs won't be supported much longer. They will, however, be supported by Windows indefinitely. It is what it is. All right, so we now have the Dell up and running. So let's go into VMware vCenter. We're going to move some stuff around. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch the vSphere client. Now, I've already got this all set up. I've been playing around with this for a few days now. So I got my whole VMware stuff set up here. And I've got the VMware vCenter is what I should say. So this is the vSphere client. So here's one of my Dell Power Edges, and you can see it's got the X5670 CPU running at 2.93 gigahertz, 48 gig of RAM over here, 47.99. And I've got some images out here. And what I need to do, this 5.7 unit is my IBM, and this VMware ESXI 6.7, and this has an an E5620 CPU with 16 logical processors, 6 NICs, etc. So what I'm going to do is move all these images now from here, from this one on and this one onto 5.7, and then 5.9 is my other Dell Power Edge with the E5640 CPUs. So the first thing I want to move onto 5.7 is going to be my VMware vCenter server. I don't want to have to set that all up again. So let's see if we can't do this while everybody's watching. So I'm just going to right click on the item and I'm going to migrate it. And I'm going to change both the compute resource and storage location. So I'm going to select Lab DC, and I'm going to select 5.7 as the one I want to move that to. So VMware does what are called compatibility checks to make sure that that virtual machine can be moved to that unit. So we'll click on Next. And then I've got 4 different hard drives in that IBM. And let's see, what is my... what I don't see here, I see provisioned, I see free. I'm just going to put on IBM DS1, and it looks like it's going to fit on there. I've got 118 gig free. So next, and the VM network, I have one VM, one network adapter, so that's fine. It'll be mapped to VM network. And schedule vMotion with high priority, I guess that's fine. We'll go ahead and do that. I'm just accepting the defaults. So this is what it's going to do. It's going to move it over to the 5.7 IP, which is the IBM. It's going to move it over to the IBM DS1 storage location. Same format and no network reassignment. So let's finish it. And you notice down here it says relocate virtual machine. We'll let it run and we'll see how it does. Now, while we're waiting for this to move the virtual machine, I just got to tell you, in the short while I've been using VMware, I've used it for years. I've used ESXI when I was training myself on virtualization technology, 10 years ago. So I think I got my start with 5.3 or 5.5, something like that. Anyway, I see why people like VMware, ESXI, and especially vCenter. It's a shame they charge so much for this software, because I think more people would use it if they had the choice. It's very stable. People like to tout Proxmox and XCP-NG. I've used them both. Proxmox is getting better, so is XCP, but they pale in comparison to VMware. I'm sorry, they just do. Even with Zen Orchestra, I'm not a big fan of Zen Orchestra. I wasn't able to figure out Zen Orchestra. I guess I'm just too stupid. But using the vCenter, VMware vSphere client, I've been able to pretty much, with the help of a few articles here and there, figure out what the hell I'm doing. All right, so the reallocate virtual machine, as VMware calls it, works successfully. It started at 8.18 and finished at 8.23. And these are both of these machines are connected up via 10 gig. So that's probably a good reason they went pretty quick. But as you can see, I didn't even have to get out of the vCenter appliance, and it's still working just like it should. Let's go over here and look at the performance of this virtual machine. No performance data currently, probably because it just got moved, but you can see it's working. It moved it without any problems at all. Now let's talk about what I've been testing. So I will tell you I was able to get FreeNAS to work on this. Now, what I did was I passed through the SAS SATA controller on the R710. I've got a flashed LSI, flashed controller in IT mode. I was able to pass the disks through without any problem at all 6 disks. I have 6 2 terabyte disks in this machine here, this 5.9. I was able to pass them through with pfSense, and I had wonderful performance. I was getting speeds in excess of 120 megabytes per second, or 110 I should say. It worked very well. I didn't have any trouble at all. I'm currently running pfSense on there. I'll be moving that unit onto here as well. I've currently got a Windows Server 2019 version of Windows Server running on here called Prometheus. I've got a trial of Untangle on there. I am currently running, let me acknowledge that, it is running right now, as you can see here. I launched the web console. Yeah, Exponology is running. It is working well. I tested it. I can vouch that it works. They now have an OVA file that makes it a whole lot easier to run Exponology virtually under VMware. And so I'm going to be moving all of these machines over to this one as just as a repository for now, so that I don't lose all these virtual machines that I've created. So the next one I'm going to move over is FreeNAS. So let's see if we can migrate that over. And I'm not going to keep you here for all of these. I'm going to... Okay, now it tells us the device, PCI device 0 uses backing, which is not accessible. So I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to go out, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to edit the settings. And as you can see, I've got a pass-through device set up. So I'm going to just simply get rid of that, tell it OK. And now I'm going to try the migrate again. So just like we did before, we're going to move it to 5.7. And you notice we didn't have any problems with compatibility checks. Okay, so it says disk 2000 is not moving, so I assume this is the disk that it is currently on. I'm going to move that to IBM DS2 for now. Actually, I can just put it on DS1. It'll fit. So we'll click on Next. One virtual machine, one network adapter, so that's all good. So it looks like everything should be good. We'll click on Finish, and we'll keep on keeping on with these other machines until we get them all done. So I'm currently, this is the virtual Exponology machine, and I'm removing, you can see I had a 9 terabyte pool over here. I just deleted that before I moved the virtual Synology machine. And then what I did was I created a 200 gig virtual volume. It's just a virtual hard drive, just so that Synology would have somewhere to install applications so I could still play with this virtual machine. Now what I'm going to do, now that I've deleted that volume, I'm going to go ahead and shut down Synology, and then we'll move that virtual machine over as well. So as you can see, FreeNAS has now been moved over to 5.7, so that was successful. I've shut down the Exponology NAS, and I want to do the same thing we did with FreeNAS. I want to edit that machine, and I want to remove the PCI device right here. And I'm going to, looks like CD drive should be okay. So now let's go ahead and see if we can migrate this one. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to have to recreate these from scratch. So again, we'll check 5.7. It says it's compatible. Now this time, let's see, there are some compatibility warnings. I'm going to select IBM DS2. Okay, insufficient disk space. So that's a problem. I need 200 gig free. Now, let's see. I can choose Synology NFS that I create. I have some shared storage, but only 285.44 gig is free. Show the details. Let's see, disk 1600 is not moving, so any transform requests will not be honored. And disk 1603 is not moving. Pardon me. So, why is it not moving those disks? That's a good question. Maybe because they are currently on, let's go look. Let's see where the Exponology is stored. No, it's stored on Synology NFS, so it doesn't need to move them. I think that's what it's telling me. So Let's find out. Let's go ahead and migrate. Worst case, we'll lose this. I'm just going to change compute resources only. And I'm going to choose 5.7. Compatibility check succeeded. Next. The network adapters are good. Next. We're not going to move the storage. It's already... We should also already have storage to the NFS over on 5.7. So go ahead and click on move, and it looks like it's done it. Yes, if we come here to 5.7, it should have access to the Synology. I've set up a Synology NFS data store, so look how quickly it moved that Exponology machine. Now, I really don't need untangle, but I'm going to go ahead and move it. However, I want to come in here and edit the settings because it'll fail, because I have a different network adapter called Internet, and that does not exist on 5.7. But, let's go ahead and try to move it anyway. Let's see what kind of error message we get. So let's migrate it. I'm going to change both the compute resource and storage. Let's see, select a host, 5.7, compatibility succeeded. Okay, so it doesn't need to move the disk because it's already on NFS. And, okay, it says it's going to move these virtual network adapters. It says network interface, network adapter 1 uses network internet, which is not accessible. Okay. No network reassignments, so it should have moved it. Yep. And that's the beauty of shared storage. I mean, look how fast that moved, because it only has to move the information for the virtual machine. That's pretty cool. All right, now pfSense I'm not going to mess with right now, nor am I going to. I'm not going to bring Prometheus over. That was actually just a machine that I was testing some stuff out on. So we can actually right-click and let's see if we can delete it. Yeah, delete from disk. Yes. So that's now gone. All right, so I want to move these images as well, but you can see if we go to 2016 SysPrep and we go over to data stores, you're going to see it's on an iSCSI share, on Synology iSCSI. So let's see what happens when we try to move this or migrate this machine. So again, we're going to right click and choose migrate. I want to change both compute and storage. We're going to try and move it to lab 5.7. That succeeded. And then let's see, does it tell me the size of the disk? I don't know, but I'm going to try and put it on DS2. And it says that should work. So it's going to move it from the iSCSI over to DS2. Network interface adapter 1 uses LabNet, which is not accessible. LabNet is an actual VLAN that I haven't created over on this machine 5.7, but that should still be fine. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and click on move. So this will take a little bit more time because it's got to actually copy the virtual machine image from the iSCSI share over to 5.7 to an actual spinning Rust hard drive. So we'll come back when something changes. All right, so we've got everything moved. I need to go ahead and I've shut down 5.6 right here. I need to turn off pfSense, and then I'm going to basically right click and remove these from inventory. It's just warning me, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell it yes, and now it should be, it's removing host. And done, and it's gone. Okay, so I've got all the virtual machines with the exception of pfSense moved over. I'm going to move over pfSense next, but I need to take the internet down to do that. All right, so here we are at the end of the road. I'm going to go ahead and issue the shutdown command for this machine. And it asks for a reason. We'll tell it we're going to remove it, so we'll tell it OK. And things should get quiet here. Yep, machine turned itself off. And now I'm going to go ahead and issue a shutdown command. I'll just tell it we're closing it. And it should bring down VMware vCenter and the server cleanly, and then we'll see you on the other side. Yeah, so there you go, YouTube. Yeah, I know I didn't take you along when I created my VMware stack, but some things I do and I just don't document them. And it's because I'm teaching myself how to use VMware properly and how to assign switches and how to pass through devices and all that stuff. So once I've figured it out, then I'll do a video and share it with you. But I wanted to get all those virtual machines, all that hard work I'd done, moved over to a central location so that I didn't lose all that hard work. Now, you probably noticed I had a FreeNAS machine in there. I also had an Exponology machine, and this is one of the reasons why VMware is one of my favorite hypervisors, other than the cost, is because it is so darn flexible. I had no trouble at all getting an Exponology virtual machine to run and to pass through the hard drive controller and to get native speed, high performance with those hard drives in a SHR1 and an SHR2 array, and my transfer speeds were excellent. Same thing with FreeNAS. Even though I'm not a big fan of FreeNAS, I was able to create a FreeNAS virtual machine, pass through all the hard drives to FreeNAS, and set up a ZFS file system with pass-through information. The smart was pass-through. Everything worked great. And that's one of the nice things about VMware. They really kind of have their act together. And they also have customized images for the Dells and for the IBMs I use, so that's what I used. So I'm not abandoning VMware. There is a place for it in my lab. It's just I have to get my equipment moved around. I'm wanting my Dells to be my 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week servers. You know, last year or this year I got all caught up with power consumption. And when I added all the things together, those Dells, they're not really that power hungry for what I'm using them for. So, and I hate to see good equipment go to waste. So now we have those virtual machines safely tucked away onto the IBM, which is going to remain running ESXI and VMware vSphere until we can get the other machine freed up that's going to run ESXI and be part of our cluster. So now it's time to get Server 2019 reinstalled on the Dells and get them all set up and configured. I'm not going to do a video on that, but I will show you the end result of that in a video. Because y'all have seen me install Server 2019 10,000 times on this channel. There's no need to do it again. Go check one of my previous videos to see that. But anyway, we hope you found this video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments down in the comments section. We do appreciate them. We appreciate your patronage. We're coming up on 10,000 subscribers. That's my goal by the end of the year. If we get it, great. If not, I'm not going to cry, but it would be nice. I know I don't have much time left, but if we could increase the growth rate on the channel, it'd be great. And I want to tell everybody, my last video, which was on Plex and MB, on how to re-encode and rip videos. Thank y'all so much. That's one of my all-time best videos. We've got over 4,000 views on that one video, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it. So there you go. Thank you. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal, we take Patreon, and all of your contributions are greatly appreciated. Just want you to know that. And please don't forget to come back and see us again, and tell everyone you know that we will see you and you and you and you and you and you on the other side.